Why, hey there, guys. This is Clement from the Tech, and in this video, we are going to build a contact form where the user will enter some data like the name, the email, then like leave a message for the website, and when the user clicks send, it's gonna send to our email address. So it's a contact form. That's what a contact form does. I'm gonna be using nodeJS and node mailer. So yeah. But before we get to the Node.js part, we are going to build the contact form first. Then we'll install all the dependencies of that Node.js will need in sending the email to sending the message to the email of well the website. And okay, for this course you'll need to know Node.js. Sorry, you need to know Node.js. You need to know HTML and CSS. I don't have a course on Node.js yet, but I'm working on that. But I'm going to try to be really clear and simple in this course. Well, so without any further ado, I'm going to continue and create our contact form. And I'm using Emmet, so just to save time, we'll do HTML5. Yeah, as you can see, I have a contact form with HTML in the root directory, mailer project. You can create your own directory and start with any code editor of your choice. I'm using WebStorm, so yeah, let me just go ahead. This is HTML5, okay? Yes, and Emmet does that for me. I can change my title to, let's say, contact form. Then on my body, I'll just say leave a message here. It's going to be a really simple contact form. It's not a CSS course. You can, if you don't know CSS or HTML, I'm currently running a course on YouTube. You can just check my channel and subscribe if you want to. Yeah, so after this, I'm going to have a form tag, and this form tag takes an action. I'll fill this later, and the method is going to be a post method because I'm going to be posting these details to an email. You're going to be sending us an email. So inside the form tag, there's going to be a. I'll start with the label first. Label, and label is for name. Then I'll say enter your name. Then I'm gonna have an input of type or type text, and uh, ID will be name. Or I think I'll just write type name. Yeah, type name. And ID will be name, and name will be name. And this name attribute is really important. It's what the will identify your inputs in the back end. So then I'm going to do the placeholder of enter your name. Yeah, just to make the input not to be empty. And I'm gonna just copy this a bit just to save time. So I'm gonna have another label, another one. Yeah, and this label will be for email, and I'll say enter your email address or email whatever, and ID will be email, and name will be email, and placeholder will be enter your email. If I knew how to spell email, and this one will be for message, and it's gonna be enter your message, and type will be, oh sorry, I forgot to change the type of this one to email, and the type of this will be we could just call it okay, my bad, this is not meant to be an input, this is meant to be a text area. It's a text area, so it's where the user types a bunch of text with name, with a lot of data, and the name of this will be well, we'll call this message. going to have an ID of message, so it can correspond with the for attribute of the label, and the column and rows, I'll just leave it like this for now. Okay, and one more input is the input of type submit, and it's going to have a value of, well, submit or send message, since we're sending this to an email, to the website email. And okay, we're done with the markup. This will not make much sense right now. We won't load this now. We want to set up our nodeJS. And again, you have to have nodeJS installed for this project. And okay, as you can see, CLS, okay. As you can see, I already have a package.json where I already installed the dependencies. We don't need much dependencies. It's just body parser, Express, and node mailer, the latest versions. So well, if you want to do this, you need to set up nodeJS. You can just do npm init. I've already done that, so there's no point to do that anymore. And if they do npm init, you do npm install -- save. Then you can write body parser, Express, and node mailer. Then it's press enter, and it will install. I already have these installed. I'm just press enter again and install it again, just to show you. But there's nothing really much about it. Just do npm install -- save body parser, and it's installed. So right now I'm gonna create I'm gonna go ahead and create my server.js, and I'll call in the root directory, I call this server.js, and our server.js will have a couple things really. It's gonna have const. We're going to require express equal to require, my bad, express, since we've already installed it. And we're going to require body parser, because we're gonna need it, which is equal to require, and open and close, body parser, and body dash parser. And what's next? We're going to need FS. It's a core module of Node. File system, it's called. Oops, my bad, wrong spelling. Const FS equals require FS. And we're going to also need path. Const path equals require. And this FS and path, they're like core modules. Core modules are basically modules that come with Node by default. We Express and body parser doesn't come with Node by default, so we had to install it using npm. And finally, we're gonna need node mailer equals require node mailer. All right. Yes. Okay, so or you know what, I'm gonna route this, so I may not need node mailer here right now. I'm going to divide this app into routes. So then I'm going to set up my body parser and say app.use body parser .url encoded extended false. This is just to make our back end be able to read the data the user entered. And okay, I missed something. I haven't defined app. Const app equals require. Oh my bad, equals express. We're going to run this express instance here and assign it to app, so we get to use the instance of express everywhere around our app. So after this, we do something like app.user app.use, pardon me, body parser .json. So it parses our the user data so that it returns it as a JSON object. So yeah, and then we're going to set up our routes. I don't want to do everything in this server.js, so I'll just do app.use again, and slash, which is our home page, and for every home page I want to require, I'm going to create this directory very soon, routes slash contact form. It's not there right now, so I'll just go ahead and create it. Routes is the directory name, contact form is the file contact form.js. In nodeJS you don't need to specify .js, just the name of the file suffices. So I'll just go ahead and create a new directory called routes, and inside routes I am going to create a new file called contact form.js, and I'm going to populate this in a minute. So yeah, I also made a mistake in this, pardon me. It's just we dot forward slash, yes, that's a convention, dot forward slash. Okay, then I'm going to finally set up my port. My port const port is equal to 3000 is the usual convention for Express, or although it could be anything. Or I'm going to make it process.env.port, and this line simply means that if the environment of our Node.js app is not on 3000, set it to the port of the environment, be it Heroku or Firebase or whatever hosting service you're using. But if it's in development like we are, it's going to use 3000. So going on, I'm going to do app.listen, oops, small caps, app.listen, in bracket ports, and I'm going to use an ES6 arrow function, and I'm just going to console.log. I'm going to use template strings, which is an ES6 addition, and template strings is just like backticks on your keyboard. So I'm going to say app started on, then I'm going to put the $, then curly braces, open and close, and say port. So yes, and with this we can start our app. It's not going to render anything right now, but I'll just run node server.js, and let's see what we get. An error. Oh, I see. We didn't set up this route, so it's obvious we're going to get the error. So I'll just I'll create this route that I required, and I'm going to go into contact form, and I'll say app const app equals express. I'm going to run the instance again, and I'll say at the end of all this, oh, okay, I'm just say app dot get, and I'm gonna say slash contact, and when it goes to this route, when our browser goes to this route, I'm gonna run an ES6 R function that takes the request and the response, and it's going to let me just say for the meantime I'm gonna say res.json, and I'm gonna say message equals contact form. Okay, so then this is not the end yet. I'll just say app, because we have to export this our route that we're linking to our server.js. So the usual convention, or the usual way of doing this is saying module.exports is equal to now app. So now we have this set up. We're acquiring this route in our contact form.js. This is usually a best practice, because most times you're going to have like a whole lot of routes But in this app, it may be an overkill, but it just to gets things done the standard way when you want to do a bigger project. So I'm just going to reload this right now. I'm going to say node server.js, and we should be getting something. Oh, another express not defined. Oh, my bad. I meant to say express, const express. I meant to require express here. Const express equal to require, then express. My bad. Talking and typing really hard. So node server.js again, and if I run this, you can see apps started on 3000. And if we go and type localhost 3000 / contact, we should get message contact form. So our router working now, and we're able to receive this JSON message. And now the next thing we want to do is to be able to render our HTML page. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and require path here. Let me see, did I require path here? I probably don't need this here. FS and path, I'm going to use it in my contact form. So FS is file system path. Path is used to move across different directories in your nodeJS application. So okay, then what I'm going to do here, before I end the video for the part 2, where we actually get into the node mailer, I'll say after get contact, instead of rendering a JSON object, I'm just gonna say let HTML, because I want to bring in my HTML file, and I'm going to use the fs that I required from the core module, from one of the core modules, fs dot, and it has a method called read file sync, and this read file sync takes in the location really of the file we want to read. So I'll use the path now, path the join, and now path the join does, it tells us the directory and the location of the file we want to read. So we're going to start from our current directory, which is routes __ dir name. Yes, that's correct, dir name. I'm going to use a comma. Then we're going to move up one directory, because we want to get to contact form. We have to move up one directory and go to contact form.html. So how we do that, we do comma, then the second argument takes in dot, which simply communicates moving up one directory, then another comma, then the next argument is going to be the contact form.html. And after doing this, we can do a res.send, and it's gonna send this. It's gonna send the page basically. We're gonna use backticks and say dollar curly brace open close HTML. So it's gonna send this, and send is it's all Express syntax. I'm gonna also be doing an Express course shortly. Yes, so let's close this because we've changed the server. And in fact, I'm going to use nodemon. Nodemon is basically like node. Instead of saying node, you're going to say nodemon. It makes it reloads our page when there is any change to our server, so or any other backend JS file. So I'm going to say nodemon server.js. And let's see what we get. So you can see it says to restart anytime, enter RS, and it's watching us. And it's said app started on 3000. So let's go and restart this file, and you can see we have our HTML form. Okay, let's add styling now. We go to contact form HTML. And I'm just gonna add a style tag to the header just to do a quick rough styling. A style tag, and I'll just say h1. The h1 tag I'm using for your message here. I'm gonna say text align, and I'm gonna say center. And I have a CSS course running right now. I'm going to talk about all these things. so you guys can check that out. And on my document, on my inputs, tags inputs, comma text area, comma label. That's I'm going to apply similar styling to all of them. I'm going to say margin on the top and bottom 20 pixels, auto to center it to the sides, and text align. I'm going to give it center, and display. I'm going to make it a block display, and width. I'm going to make this 50%, and I'll set a max width so it doesn't exceed this width of 400 pixels. And the display block is because inputs have a default display of inline, just to make each input on its own individual line. So with this, I'm going to just go back here and reload the page, and you will see we have everything aligned properly. This is by no means the epitome of proper design, but it'll be good for our own needs. And just before I end the video, I'm gonna put an action of send, but I'll explain this later. So yeah, this is the end of the video for now. Part 2, I'll connect this to node mailer. Thank you for watching, guys.